Hey there, my name is Kelly, and I am a grateful recovering alcoholic and addict, as well as a trauma survivor. Now, I am not a professional, and I do not pretend to be one. All I am doing today and with all my videos is just sharing my experience, my strength, my hope, and things I've learned along my recovery journey. So today, something that's important to me and that I've been working on and I want to talk about is boundaries. Boundaries are so important, and people with trauma history and alcoholism in their life or in their family member's life often struggle with that. In fact, I think almost all of us struggle with it on some level. So first, why do we need boundaries? Well, it's for our mental health, it's for self-care, it is for communication, conflict resolution, and it is for our own confidence. You are worthy, you are valued, you are important, and so are your boundaries. A boundary is just basically an open, direct, and honest way of letting people know your limitations. So I will give you two examples of boundaries. The first one is where my boundaries were crossed on a regular basis and I did not have the strength at the time or the words to stand up for myself. And this is when I was drinking. I was in a toxic relationship, and he would yell at me and scream at me and curse at me almost every night. And I would just cover my head and just pray for him to stop yelling, and eventually he'd pass out, and then I could go to sleep and then repeat the same thing day in and day out. Now, after 2 years of that toxic relationship, I finally found the strength to leave him, but it was because I started seeing the effects that it had on my children. And that was a boundary for me that I was not going to budge on. He could hurt me, but he could not emotionally hurt my children. Anyway, that's a tangent. But an example of a positive boundary is I went to a house full of people recently, and one of the people there would just barge into my bedroom without knocking. In fact, they would just barge into the bathroom without knocking or asking me if I was in there or anything like that. So I realized first, I became self-aware that my privacy boundary was being crossed. I prepped myself for a hard conversation and became ready, and the next time they barged into my room, I said, "Excuse me, would you mind knocking and waiting for me to answer before you come into my room or the bathroom?" And lo and behold, this person said, "Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. I will absolutely do that. You're right." And from then on, we didn't have the problem the rest of the trip. So that's an example of where setting a positive boundary can improve your situation. Now, how do we set boundaries? The first step to that is to be self-aware and to realize that no is a complete sentence. You do not have to describe why. You do not have to give anybody an explanation. You can just say no. And it'll feel uncomfortable at first, but the more and more you do it, the more you practice it, the stronger and easier it'll become. And you can say no just based on a gut feeling, just a red flag, something alarming in your body is telling you something's not right. You can say no. The next thing I would say is first, you have to become self-aware. Second, the tools that I use, the approach that I've learned is when someone's crossing your boundary, you say, "When you do this, I feel this, and if you continue to do that, here is the consequence." For example, my husband and I, we've been married 1.5 years, and we had our first argument about a month into the relationship, and it didn't go great. We've both been in toxic relationships, both in recovery. So we sat down and we had a mature conversation about what are your boundaries, what are my boundaries. And we came to the conclusion together that our boundaries are when someone yells, screams, curses, or disrespects the other person, then the consequence, if we continue to do that, or if we do that at all, the consequence is the other person will walk away and continue the conversation when the first person is able to communicate in a respectful and proper manner without cursing, without yelling. And like I said, we've been married 1.5 years now, and we rarely have arguments or disagreements because we are able to express our boundaries so comfortably. Now, if you are dealing with an alcoholic or an addict, we have a way of pushing people's boundaries to the extreme, and we have a way of not accepting when people push our boundaries. So when someone, for example, you love, is calling you drunk at all hours of the day, and you want to support them, but you don't want to support their alcoholism, what you can do is say, when you call me drunk, I feel angry, I feel scared, I feel helpless. If you continue to call me drunk, the consequence will be that I will not answer the phone, or if I do pick up and you are drunk, I will hang up. I will not speak to you unless you can speak to me while you are in a sober mind frame. And they may not talk to you for quite a while, and that's okay, because alcoholics need to be told no sometimes so they can truly recover. Now, I want to give you one more example of setting a boundary. And that's like, say, and this is something that has happened in my life, and I just want to express it. Say you're on a date with someone, and they put their hand on your leg, and you're not comfortable with it. Instead of just sitting there feeling uncomfortable, you can say, excuse me, when you put your hand on my leg, I feel uncomfortable and unsafe. If you continue to put your hand on my leg, I will get up and I will leave this restaurant, and we will not go on another date. And then the ball's in their court. They have the opportunity to choose their next move, and then you have the ability to follow through with the consequence. So there we go. That's what I've got for you. At some point, I want to go over how to teach children boundaries, what it looks like for children to have boundaries, and how to respect them, and how for them to respect others. But for now, I just want you to remember that you are important, you are valuable, you are loved, and your boundaries matter. Also, no is a complete sentence. Practice saying it in your daily life, and again, it will become more and more comfortable, and you will feel so amazing when you are starting to stand up for yourself and protect your energy and your spiritual safe place. So thank you so much for listening. I hope you guys have a wonderful day and a wonderful week, and I will talk to you later. Thanks. Bye.